Maintaining a square club face throughout the swing is one of the hardest things a player can do. So in this video, I want to talk about some things, some feelings that we can have throughout the backswing, into the downswing, into impact to help get and maintain a square club face to help you getting that ball starting more online. So let's get into that right now. All right, so getting things started off, takeaway, okay? So in this video, I'm gonna be talking mainly about what the club face is gonna look like with a neutral grip. A neutral grip, having that in between that thumb and first finger, that line, those lines going facing up towards the trail armpit, okay? I'll make some mention throughout here of what the club face will look like with a strong grip or with a weaker grip. Mainly, we're gonna be going off of the neutral grip there. So in taking this club back, because majority of the time I see that club kind of turning over, getting inside a little bit, getting open. When that happens, obviously the Velcro of the glove is kind of pointed more up to the sky here. So I want to be having the sensation that in starting this takeaway, right now as I'm starting, my Velcro is kind of pointed towards the screen a bit. Kind of off on an angle, but I'm trying to make sure that that almost, it feels to me like it's still pointed on that angle. It's not starting to turn and face that wall in front of me or up to the sky. All right, so kind of just pushing the hands back without feeling much twist in those wrists or hands. Getting the sensation here that my trail hand is on the side and slightly on top of the grip here. Okay. On the side and slightly on top of the grip, okay? Now, from here, from that position, getting to the top, what you're gonna notice is this hand that's on the side and on the slightly on top of the grip, as I go to the top of the swing, this trail hand is gonna go from this position and it's gonna work underneath the club. Now it's kind of supporting the club, okay? So what's happening here is we're taking that hand from on the side, on top of the club, and we're getting it to work under. The wrist angles here don't really change, okay? There's just a little bit of, as I'm lifting, there's a little bit of forearm rotation that kind of happens to get this hand from in this position to now in this position. But other than that, there's not a lot of twisting. There's not really any wrist angle movements here. This lead hand that started here at takeaway position that's kind of facing down slightly and in front of me, as I get this to the top now that Velcro with that wrist being nice and flat, that Velcro's kind of pointed up to the sky a little bit, kind of on an angle just like that. That trail hand supporting it, similar to thinking about holding a tray of drinks there. Okay. So club face, spine angle. Up to the top, trail hand is now underneath the club, supporting it. Lead hand, that Velcro point out in front of us, now kind of getting and working up to the sky a little bit more on this type of an angle. But you'll notice that my wrists here and how this is a nice and flat from my forearm to the top of my hand, same thing here, right? This is all the same. So there hasn't been any twisting action of that club face going up there. But a lot of times as we're going up, majority of players get it twisting. They don't even know what's really happening. Okay, and so in that case, we need to really fight to have the sense like we're almost closing it, like that might be what you have to feel to have that same position in those wrists there for that club face. Okay. So now that we got that club in a position, our hands in a position just similar to this, you'll notice how that shaft is on a slight angle. I love to see that. That's just gonna make our downswing so much easier to come down on a nice plane. So if you're finding that with this, trying to keep this club face a little more closed, that you kind of get up and just look like this, right? We're just not getting that action of these hands kind of learning how to point that shaft from this position to here, trying to point that shaft to the corner of the room a little bit, which again, just a little bit of forearm rotation, tiny bit of external rotation in our trail shoulder here to get that trail hand underneath the club and point the shaft out that way. So now that we're in this position, well, now how do we get this club face back down to parallel with our spine from the top? Just reversing. So I'm up here at the top, in starting down, I need to get this Velcro on my glove to work down and try to be pointing out in front of me a bit. Again, that trail hand that underneath supporting that tray of drinks is now needing to start to get that rotation back and get that to be pointed slightly down to the ground, slightly on an angle, like I'm on the side, slightly on top of the club here again. Okay, because we can't just get this square face, and then just bring our hands straight down and have that trail hand just on the side of the club like this and come through, which a lot of people do. It just keeps the face wide open. So we got to get that trail hand working slightly down through a little bit of rotation there. Again, the wrist doesn't do any of this here, right? That's just essentially this kind of an action happening. I'm exaggerating there to get that trail hand on the side on top of the grip there, okay? So always work on underneath that, supporting it nice and flat. Now I got to work these hands down, trying to make that club come down on this angle here while I'm trying to get that pad of that trail hand slightly on top on the side of the grip there, okay? Now, from this position, we got to go and hit the ball. So again, we're not out of the woods yet. Doesn't mean just because we got a square club face here that now all I need to do is go and push my hand straight into the ball, because I can still leave the face slightly open there, okay? So once we've gotten this and we're in this position, that club face on a good angle here, I need to still finish it off with a little bit of twisting, rotation in the forearms and hands to square that face up, okay? Then from there, we can kind of let it go. So obviously, if you're someone who already does add this enough, right, we don't need to. You could probably get the sensation like you are just pushing through. But again, if we're working on this properly and we've got these checkpoints in a good spot and we get down here, we still need that body to turn, and I still need those hands rotating a touch to finish it off. Again, I mentioned the body rotation there to finish it off, okay? We can't just come down here and push our hands into it without our body turning, because a lot of times that'll just lead to a push. We can get that club face nice and squaring up nicely by getting a touch more body rotation. That'll really help that club face come around to become a little more square at impact there. All right, so if you're at home and you're wondering, okay, how can I work on this? How can I see it happening? Always good to have a mirror. Anywhere you can get a mirror, or say an iPad, a tablet, something with a bigger screen where you can watch yourself. Checkpoints, okay? Checkpoint 1 here is just seeing, okay, can I keep my head down, take this away, and have this club face on that slight angle similar to my spine? Okay, great, awesome. Getting to the top, how can I check this? Well, is my trail hand underneath there, all right? Is that lead wrist nice and flat? Is that shaft on a slight angle behind me, okay? Coming down, again, I can go up here, bring it down and stop. Okay, is that club face on that angle? Perfect. Or it's like, okay, feels good. How does that look? Oh, all right, right? Just kind of catching yourself to learn these motions. It's not always advisable just go to the range and smash some balls and see if it works. We got to train that feeling first. And then from there, after we've gotten that, then we can start hitting some balls and see what do we need to feel at impact. Is it more of just the hands need to be pushing ahead, or do I need to get more of that rotating the forearms and rotating the body more to square it up to finish it off, okay? Now, last thing is the grip. If I got a really strong grip, let's go with that first, really strong grip, right? We just don't want to switch it. Well, if I go and think about my Velcro pointing down to the ground a little bit more, that club face is going to be super shot, okay? So in that case, I don't really want my trail hand to be on the side, on top of the grip here. It's going to be more underneath to have that club face on that spine angle. Get into the top now, right? I don't want that lead wrist to be in a nice flat position, okay? Because that, again, that club face is going to be super shot because of that. There's going to be a slight bit of extension in that lead wrist, okay? That trail hand isn't going to be straight underneath that club. It's not going to be supporting that trail drinks. It's going to be a little bit more on the side there. That's going to help us have that square face, okay? And then again, vice versa for a really weak grip. We're gonna just have to fight a lot harder, right, to have this club face square, right? A lot more rotation down, a lot more rotation in the wrist there here, okay? And then again, coming down, we're just gonna have to fight a lot harder with our hands to do that. So there's some ideas on how the grips work with that. Give them a try. All right, so I hope that gave you a better understanding of how to maintain a square face throughout the swing. Make sure to subscribe. Got more videos coming out soon, and we'll see you next time.